Norway in August 1910. My parents were Hans and Lona Johansen. We were two brothers and one sister in a family. I attended school at Bjarkoy up until I was 14 years of age. My father had a fishing fleet, and consequently as a very young boy I was able to go out with him commercial fishing. We were fishing in Lofoten Island, Finnmarken, and also around Troms fylke, where they fish for herring. At age approximately 17, I decided to go to sea. And was the first ship I sailed on was skippered by my uncle, Carl Johansen. I sailed with him for about a year, then the ship was sold to Sweden, and we had to quit. Then I started sailing for the Wilhelmsen line out of Oslo. I sailed on 3 of their ships, which went from Oslo to the Far East and also Australia. When I was 15 years old, I applied to the American consular for a visa to immigrate to U.S. I didn't hear from them before while sailing on the Far East on the Wilhelmsen line ship, I received a notice from the American consulate that I can immigrate, that I can get my visa if I still wish to do so. I arranged to have pick up my visa number in Shanghai, China. So I actually immigrated to the United States from Shanghai. When I arrived in New York and got off the Norwegian ships, I started sailing for the Luckenbach line between the East Coast and the West Coast. And I sailed on, well, scratch the first hour. I also, when I first came to New York, I was still on sailing the Wilhelmsen line and between New York and the Far East. It was then one of those trips that I arranged to have my visa number transferred to Shanghai, and I actually got all my papers in order in Shanghai and emigrated into this country through Shanghai, China. Came here, I started sailing for Wilhelmsen line for approximately 1.5 years. Then I decided to go on shore in New York, where I stayed approximately 8 years, working for Graceline most of the time and also on some construction jobs, building. In New York, I attended air conditioning refrigeration school at the Carrier Company. I worked some refrigeration in New York. In 1941, I went to New Orleans from New York and worked for Higgins in New Orleans on the famous Higgins PT boats when they were building in 1942, 41 and 42. In the summer of 42, I decided to drive from New Orleans to Portland, and although I had a job waiting for me in Hawaii with the English Navy, I decided to stay in Portland. Worked in a shipyard to start with, and then later on started my own business in major appliance service and plumbing and heating. Met my wife Marge in 42, and we were married in November of 42. We have 4 children, 3 boys, John, Martin, and Gary, and 1 girl, Linda. John is Gary is a architect. Martin is working for us on the apartment house complexes. Linda presently Linda is married and have 3 children, boys, which live in Medford, Oregon. They operate a retail store in Medford at the present time. While working in New York in the late 30s, I joined a new lodge in Central Norway called Norden on Long Island. The reason I was working on Long Island at that time, approximately 1936-37. I joined Norden as a charter member and belonged to that lodge until I left New York. When I arrived in Portland in 1942, my membership was transferred to the Greek lodge in Portland and has been a member ever since. I have served for several years as a member of the North Shore Association Committee and have enjoyed very much being a member of the Sons of Norway. I also have been very active in Lions Clubs International, having held most of the positions on the club level and also district level, and served as district governor in 1967 for District 26O in Oregon. We operate our major appliance service company and plumbing and heating company for approximately 25 years. In the plumbing, we did some housing, but mostly commercial work. While I sold out the plumbing company in 1972-73, while still having this company, we built several apartment house complexes, and which we own and operate today. When When I first came to Portland, I started working in the shipyard. After that was over, I started working for Session Roebuck in their refrigeration department. After I quit Session Roebuck, I started my own company. Brother Arne came to Portland with his family in 1957. Arne is married to Elsie Johansen, and they have a daughter, Solfrid, who at the present time lives in the Seattle area. Arne and Elsie are both members of the Sons of Norway.